He hates it. And the reason he hates it is because he doesn't like the idea that somebody made something about his work that ended up being very popular because he wanted to take credit for it, which is dumb as shit because all you've really managed to do is get more people interested in what you made. You know, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is always going to have, based on the novel by Stephen King, on the fucking box art, on the movie poster, you know, so why is he complaining? He hated The Shining, he hated The Green Mile, he hated The Shawshank Redemption. Like, what the fuck? He
Yeah.
hated Tim Curry, It.
Hmm. Very odd. Did he like The Mist?
What's really funny is it's one of the few things that he actually openly admits was better than the book. Um, and he hates it, and he openly admits that he's jealous of it because he says that ending was perfect. I wish I came up with it, and it's like, how the fuck did you miss that? It's like a layup. The Mist had, you know, it is considered a twist ending, but it's like one of the easiest to see coming twists ever, considering what happened 30 seconds previously. Like the guy's life is destroyed. He just mercy killed everybody that he knew and loved. And then, oh, would you look at that? If he just waited 5 more minutes, he'd have been fine.
Right.
And Stephen King's like, oh, I wish I came up with a blah blah blah. Because instead, what Stephen King did is he wanted to, if it was well received enough, open up an opportunity for him to keep writing in that universe that he created. So he had an ambiguous. The mist has taken over like all of New England, and they venture off into the unknown kind of ending. He's a turd.
Hmm. Yeah, guys, we have a lot to celebrate after today's results. Not so much the Rams looking as competent as they did, but in general, smoking on that Cowboys pack and Rams pack.
Yes, it mean.
There's nothing wrong with Snacks' mic, right, guy? We're just doing the audio setup a little different tonight. So it's going to sound slightly different, but it's working as well as I can make it work right now. So tomorrow I'm getting an adapter that should allow me to use my headset again, but right now my headset does not work.
I mean, I'm not listening to the stream, but Joker's voice at least sounds normal to me,
Hmm.
and I of course sound like normal to me. So
Okay. People in the stream, let me know if there's an issue with Snacks' mic. Because as far as I can tell, it's okay. I know it's not going to be perfect, but again, I can't really make it better right now unless I crank the volume on my speakers up even higher, which, I mean, I guess I could do it. I think the Cowboys are going to get Harbaugh or Belichick if they can reach some kind of an understanding with Jerry Jones, but you know Jerry Jones is not going to be down with the sharing of the spotlight that he'll have to do with Harbaugh or Belichick.
that's why I'm hoping for Belichick, because it'd be a fucking train wreck catastrophe. Harbaugh would make zero sense.
I do wonder. I mean, Jerry Jones is like 81 years old now. I wonder if maybe he's like, okay, fine. I just want to win another title. I don't care how I do it. I don't care what I have to subjugate myself to. I just want that title.
I don't know, but that's been his problem for years. So
Hmm.
it's hard to say that that would ever happen because it seems like it's not in its character. But I mean, I know that a lot of people are, they're hyping up Harbaugh to like every team that they want to see him go to. But so many of the potentials that have been floated up seem like it's not a place he'd want to go to.
If I were Harbaugh, I'd go to Atlanta. Good owner, nice stadium, great roster, just needs a quarterback. Give me Atlanta or give me death. Then again, don't they call Atlanta Black Man's Paradise?
Yes.
So they need to
Although,
hire
yes,
Eric Bieniemy.
many people have thought that it was ironic, uh, given the name, because I'm all like, how could Atlanta possibly be Black Man's Paradise? It's filled with black women.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older? Then we wouldn't have to wait so long. I prepared it as I bathed. Kramer, do you mean that this food was in the shower with you?
Kramer, you can't just call Tua that word. I'll do whatever I want. Kramer, what are you doing? I'm taking a shit on Jerry's floor.
Yeah, I know, Nelsonator. This is a very old game, but the Fear games always looked good. Like, even Fear 1 still looks pretty good, I think. Granted, I played it a long time ago, but I think the game still holds up. And I'm also getting a high kbps right now, which is probably helping immensely. I actually like the way the shooting feels in these games, too. The shooting feels good. Edward Sequester Hands. We are not happy the Rams look good, but we are happy the Rams lost. And that the Lions got what they deserved after getting hosed by the NFL this year. They got a playoff win. And who are they probably playing next week now? They're playing Tampa or Philly, whoever wins tomorrow. Honestly, I would be shocked if Philly won that game. They've looked so incompetent lately. Of course they do, right, guy? What kind of question is that? Everybody knows that. That's like the meme. That's why Snacks said what he said about Atlanta. He's saying it doesn't make sense. Wouldn't Black Man's Paradise be, I don't know, Laguna Beach or a Taylor Swift concert? I don't know.
Oh, who do you think's winning tomorrow?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Who do you think's winning tomorrow, Bucks or Eagles?
I think Tampa's winning. I think Philly. I would be shocked if Philly won. They've looked so incompetent lately.
Plus being on the road, absolutely.
Mhm. Ian Ali, he was recruiting for Arizona. It's much harder to recruit for Arizona than for a big time school. Like he was recruiting for a team that had been awful for several straight seasons with someone.
I'm trying to think about it. What possibility could be worse tomorrow in terms of what would look worse for the Dolphins? Because obviously, if the Bills win, then that's the Bills' a third asserting their dominance, not just over the division, but over the AFC, and that could have been us if we just won that fucking game. But if the Steelers win, then it makes the Dolphins look horrendous that they got blown out by a team that couldn't even beat an injured Steelers team.
I mean, at this point, they're all just slightly different shades of bad, right? There's no good scenario, so
Yeah, exactly. This is the worst possible timeline for the Dolphins. There's no positive that can be taken from this.
mhm. You feel the need to use a lot of foul language at the dentist?
Yes.
When they pull out that needle, I let the expletives fly, baby. That's actually an incredible scene that Kramer's able to convey what he's trying to say, even while pretending his mouth is full of Novocaine.
Right. You know, there's a very interesting phenomenon taking place, and the potential for what could actually be a very good thing, Western civilization. The double whammy of Taylor Swift getting engaged to Travis Kelsey and
Hmm.
then getting knocked up and actually having a child in wedlock and a traditional family with a same ethnicity couple would already cause millions of aimless white women around the world to suddenly want a traditional family also. But then the double whammy comes in where you see so many women who are in their late 20s, early 30s starting to get fired from their useless make work jobs because the economy is going in the tank at the exact same time. So suddenly, oh shit, I need to pay this rent, I need to pay this mortgage, I needs me a man. At the same time that Tay Tay's making him think about having a traditional family, and then all of a sudden, birth rates are back above replacement levels.
Taylor Swift will save America.
Never thought it would be this way. However, when you think about it, the Dolphins are responsible for this. You could even call us martyrs because if we beat the Chiefs, Taylor would have broken up with Travis Kelsey on the spot, calling him a cuck and a loser. The Dolphins had to die for America to live. I'm willing to accept that sacrifice.
Mhm.
As a result, Tua's number will be retired across the league, and they'll put up a statue of him in front of Arrowhead Stadium, which is that picture of Tua with his pants full of shit in front of the Bills players.
Carefully now, he's a hero.
Exactly. Oh, it hurts to laugh. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean, straight. If we're being straight honest, McCarthy's been much better than Carroll over the last 3 years. He's just still not good enough for like when you compare him to what we could do.
Okay, right, guy. I'm being dead serious. Be very careful about what you say on Twitter. Take it easy. Just calm down. Don't do it.
Yeah, I saw the Lillard game winner, David. That was
Ben,
pretty.
that so far that is the choke of the season. The Kings had no business losing that game, but they actually missed three of their last four free throws and then gave up back-to-back threes. That, like, obviously the Lillard game winner was extremely impressive, and will, everyone's gonna remember that. But man, what a choke from the Kings.
Hmm. And tomorrow is going to be so lit with Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp roasting the Cowboys. I'm so excited. And I usually never watch those people.
Yeah.
Find a
I
way.
just don't think. Um, I was gonna say I just don't think that anybody's surprised that the Cowboys got spanked like that.
I didn't think they were going to lose this fucking game. The Packers
No,
barely got into the playoffs. They lost to Tommy DeVito like a month ago.
hey man, don't disrespect Tommy Cutlet. He's obviously a top three quarterback in the league.
Apparently, if he can beat, if Dak Prescott can't beat the Packers and Tommy DeVito can, I mean, what else need be said?
Oh, it's really interesting. I was reading about this the other day since we're speaking of Italians. Apparently, Benito Mussolini really hated the mafia, and he enacted brutal pogroms in Sicily specifically to fight uh, the Sicilian mafia, which is actually what led to Lucky Luciano coming to the United States, fleeing Italy with his family and that whole thing. And over the years, as he began getting
Sorry.
involved in the criminal underworld and building up La Cosa Nostra in the United States, it got to the point where the United States government actually contracted Luciano, along with several other well-known mafia members, to help act as essentially scouts in Italy, because they knew, since their loyalty was to the mafia, they were enemies of Mussolini and they were Italian. So they knew the layout of the land, and there was no worry about them being traitors at all. And that ended up leading to decades of extraordinary crime and violence with the mafia in the United States, adding yet another point in the column of the bad guys winning World War II.
Earlier today, I was talking with my mom about how most restaurants kind of suck now. Because we were talking about how, now that our dogs are a little bit older, we can actually go out for dinner and leave the dogs at home for a couple hours because we're not concerned about them tearing up the house anymore. And then I was like, well, all you need to do is find a restaurant that's actually worth going to. And then she kind of went off on this little rant about how lazy restaurant like things like restaurants in America have gotten. And she was talking about how the last time she went to Korea, how every restaurant is just so singularly focused on providing the best possible experience in food. And she compared it to the way America is now. And she was like, when I moved out of Korea when I was younger, it was not like that. Like, it's kind of crazy how far Korea has come in that area, whereas how far America has stepped back.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of people who visit the United States from other countries. That's a big bit of culture shock for them because of exactly what you're talking about, where restaurant experience has gotten so ubiquitously bad all over the country. Doesn't matter where in the country you live, it's the same.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And without getting too far into the weeds, I basically said, I think it helps in Korea that everybody looks the same, and you don't have that in America anymore.
Exactly. It's all like, you've got what is essentially a fucking ethno state over there. It really helps out.
Hmm.
Same reason Japan is such a highly functioning society. I'll go to B Dubs and pick up fat chicks. Hey, I've seen the fat chicks at B Dubs, man. I fucking no, thank you.
They're showing Cowboys Packers highlights on ESPN. I'm gonna get out the lube. And while I use it, I'm gonna watch that video of the Bills fan puking all over, puking into his fist.
Jesus Christ.
That was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was horrendous.
Draymond Green gonna make his first game appearance on Monday on MLK Day. How fitting. Of course not, Square Tostada. I think we'll be lucky to win 6 games this year. We're taking a big step back, which was always expected, but it's going to be even bigger than we thought.
Yeah, not trying to depress you guys at all, because obviously it's a disappointment you didn't win the championship.
Hmm.
But that was still like the Huskies' best season ever, and you're gonna have to hold on to those Sugar Bowl memories for a long time.
It was our best season since I was 2 years old. Like, I'll take it. I
Yeah,
mean, the alternative would be that Kalen DeBoer didn't do as good and didn't get that job. But then if he doesn't do as good, we don't go near as far, guys. That's the cycle of being a college football team. When your guys do too good a job, they leave. It's the price you pay.
right.
Yeah, it wasn't the best season ever, but it was the best season since I've been watching, and it's not close. And that means something.
Yeah, you could say the best season for a lot of people's lifetimes
Hmm.
in terms of
Oh
the
shit!
folks
Shit! Oh shit!
in our community. And regardless, like I said, you're gonna have to hold on to those Sugar Bowl memories for a long time.
Hmm.
That's just my overall point. Saying, do you think the Huskies can make another run uh, right away?
Hmm.
Probably, hell no.
Yeah, we're gonna have to give it some time to rebuild the program. Pretty much all of our players are gone. They either went to the NFL or they transferred out to, and that is the cycle of life in college football. Like, there's no getting around it. It- Yeah, we're gonna get some of the best Arizona players over here too because we got Jed. Keep that in mind. But I feel like the success failure mark next year is 6-6, and then the bowl game berth. If we can win 6 games next year, I'm happy. That's how this works. I am happy for Detroit fans tonight. Really sad we lost Mac. That one sucked. Mac was supposed to be the guy down the line.
I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I definitely have to. Uh, I gotta save up for a new computer chair because I've had this one for maybe 6 years.
Oh yeah.
No, 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 5. I got this new one when I was going to electrician school. So 5 years, and it's been good for 5 years. But the support for the chair uh, to keep the back like actually level, it has broken, and it's it's playing hell on my back and neck because the thing is just always leaning back.
Mm, I hear you.
So it's almost like sitting on a chair that has no backing at all. It's pretty
Now,
uncomfortable.
how much do computer chairs cost?
Check in Amazon right now. Anywhere from 60 to $120, depending on
Okay.
if you want a really fancy gaming chair or just something to get you going.
Yeah,
So it's not
my
too bad. I
mine.
could get that
I
company
think mine
chairs.
costs like $400.
Yeah, your chair is very, very good. Very high quality,
Hmm.
very fancy.
I think I've had this
Um,
one for about 3 years now. No issues yet.
yeah, like
Hmm.
I'm looking at this one that's the genuine leather gaming chair with footrest, uh, like a fold out footrest. It's only $100. I'm like, that sounds pretty nice. And if you just wanted like really cheap boomer office desk chair, you can get that for $30. But yeah, it's the same problem. I can get that going.
Yeah, that's like a couple hours worth of work for you but if you want to go cheap, and I know you don't,
Yeah,
but that is totally doable.
gotta hope for good successful days to round out the month.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true, Ian. Yeah, Nelson. I still have him. He's over there taking a nap. He sleeps a lot. He's nocturnal. That's the thing with these sugar gliders. They're nocturnal. So, assuming you're whatever the opposite of nocturnal is, you won't see them that much. But that's okay. It allows them to take care of themselves. They're a low maintenance pet. I don't know.
Low maintenance pets are the best. The opposite of nocturnal is called diurnal.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That's just a useless thing to know, but in case anybody was curious.
Hmm.
Anyway, I just thought about it. We missed a hell of an opportunity for marketing with the Huskies this year
Hmm.
because you had Sugar Light and the Huskies were playing in the Sugar Bowl.
That's true.
I wish I'd known. I would have thought of something.
That's a shame.
Yeah, yeah. Who cares? The meme videos are doing fine as they are.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a joke video either tomorrow or Tuesday.
Nice.
Not a meme video, just kind of an outright just dumb video that some people are probably gonna get mad at me for, but I don't really care.
Oh man, I can't wait. I still remember when you posted the video. My wife's boyfriend got me a Switch, and all of a sudden, like there was like hundreds of people took it at face value and didn't understand the joke.
Exactly.
They're like, I didn't know you were married. Wait a minute, your wife has a boyfriend? Hold on, Brendan, something's wrong. Hey, that
Hmm.
was hilarious.
I did that video a couple years ago, Seahawks offense versus Green Bay Packers, but it's the third impact. People seem to have a decent sense of humor about that one.
Yeah. Is there a reason you don't respond to YouTube comments? I mean, like 90% of them are retarded. Even people who don't have a YouTube channel make a huge mistake responding to YouTube
I
comments.
don't have time to respond to YouTube comments. Like,
That's also valid.
and honestly, if I said what was on my mind to a lot of the comments I get, I'd probably just end up making people angry and they don't watch my stuff anymore. Because I got to be
Yeah,
honest, a lot of the comments I get, I think, suffer from brain damage.
right. You'd have to make an apology video to the ADL.
Hmm.
You're gonna have to ask Kanye what prompt he used in ChatGPT to write his apology.
Yeah, I can't
Is
believe.
that you saw that, right? Kanye's apology that he did in
Yes, I
Hebrew is
saw that.
literally what you yeah, that was fantastic. That was a ChatGPT response. I mean, right. The thing you need to understand is that there are a lot of colleges out there that people do not consider blue blood that still have a shitload of money because
Like Texas
college
A&M
here,
is being funded by oil sheiks. They have more money than any other school, I think.
yeah, like there's a ton of money in colleges these days. And the reason is because pretty much everyone goes to college now out of high school. They don't turn away anybody, and student loans are federally guaranteed by the United States government.
Hmm.
So if a student can't make those payments, if they default on their debt, it doesn't matter. The U.S. government pays the bank.
Who's three guys you'd be
Given
extremely unhappy? At this point, Mike McCarthy, Nate Carroll, and I'll say uh, Brandon Staley. I don't fucking know. Go ahead. Snacks.
Um, well, I forgot what I was gonna say. It's not important, but I'm gonna check to see if there's one tank commander of a coach, if he's still working or not. Because if Seattle picked him up, it'd be pretty fucking clear what their intent was.
Man, it is such bullshit that Dak gets to have a 400-yard game on his ledger after today when he played that badly. Like what a
Yeah,
fucking stat padding piece of shit.
yeah, it's bullshit. And the whole fucking reason he did all that shit in garbage time, the stat pad like that, is just so that those who tape up for him in the media will be like, you cannot put this loss on Dak. He had a 400-yard game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, bro, I could easily put that shit on Dak. He fucking.
Yeah, he sucks. He sucked a big one. And I say this as someone who generally likes Dak, but that's on him.
Yeah, I mean, hell, let's let's just be honest and say this because I'll use him as a comparison. The Tua criticism, for the most part, is completely valid. The only thing that's not valid is calling him injury prone because the injuries that happened to him were not his fault. They were freak accidents. They were incidences where anybody else in the same situation would also have gotten hurt, and it was a huge failure of the Dolphins medical staff. But as far as criticism of his play, absolutely completely valid, especially with what happened this season. However, everybody who criticizes Tua, they all say the same thing. He's a really nice guy, but so yeah, Dak's comparison
Mm.
is the NFC version of Tua.
Well, we're gonna learn a lot about Tua
There's
next year because it's the last year of his rookie deal. Is what I'll say about that.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, like you can easily criticize a guy for not being good enough, but he's a great person still. You know, somebody doesn't need to be evil in order for them to be at fault for having done something wrong. Right. According to this, he's wide open. Tank Commander, Lovey Smith. Let, let's see the Seahawks hire him. It worked out fucking great for the Texans. Even if the
Yeah, it
Texans
did.
coach, what'd they do? They got CJ Stroud out of it. Fire Lovey. What ends up happening? Stroud, best rookie QB season ever. It worked out for the Buccaneers because they got the pick that they wanted. Jameis didn't end up working out for him. However,
God,
realizing that Jameis didn't work out for him, oh, all I heard was a yell. I thought you.
I said, God damn it, because I got killed. That's all.
Oh, I thought you stubbed your toe. Well, it's because when you're using the mic that's not on your headset,
Yeah,
sometimes the audio cuts out. So literally, all I heard was just the first. I was like, "Shit, you all right?"
yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
And
I'm
like
good.
I'm looking at the stream and waiting to see what happened, but the stream's like 30 seconds behind.
I don't know why it's so damn
I'm
far
like,
behind. Whatever.
well, it's not that the stream is overly lagging as a concept. It's that it lags from when I hear what you have to say in real time,
Oh, okay.
and then the broadcast needs to catch up to what's occurring. I'm a firm believer that if Stroud didn't get hurt, he would be the MVP. I would not go that far. He did play excellent. But he is not the only person in the world who played excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, there are far more impressive teams than the Texans. and MVP usually goes in that kind of situation. Because like look at the campaign that Purdy had for the vast majority of the season when he was like the least important component of the Niners offense.
Hmm.
Now you can definitely sit there and have the opinion that you think Stroud's the best QB in the league. I mean, that's fine, okay. Think and feel however you want, but calling him MVP, that is way too far.
So if the Packers didn't miss an extra point, they would have set a record for most points in a playoff game by a Packers team ever. Too bad.
Wow, would have been a hell of a game to do it too.
Hmm. Dan Quinn went from thinking he had a locked up job as the head coach in Seattle to now wondering if he'll have a job in the NFL at all.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Let me have my opinion, snacks. Yeah, yeah, whatever.
Hmm.
I just think that Colin Stroud is an MVP is too much. That's why I said I don't think that Stroud's the best QB in the league. But I said if you want to have that opinion, fine, go for it.
Hmm.
MVP though, I
Yeah, I mean, Houston's offense was still like barely above average this year. I think it was 13th in points and 15th in EPA per play. That's I.
However, I will say this: for the playoff games that have been played so far, I would accept calling Stroud the MVP of the first round of the playoffs.
Hmm. Right.
That's fine, but that's as far as I go.
Find a way out
And
of
if
the outer shell before it's destroyed. What is this, Metal Gear Solid 2?
yes, Mike McDonald versus Ben Johnson for the right to become the new Seahawks coach in the Super Bowl is the legendary scenario. How are they going to fight for that position? Are they gonna wrestle each other and oil and
It's like in
stadium? I don't
Borat, the nude wrestling match in Borat.
know. Exactly. Next, what do you want the Heat to do moving forwards regarding Jimmy Butler? Keep him forever? Let him retire on the team? Let's fucking go. It's pretty damn funny. Like we felt awful in the off season when we didn't get the Lillard trade or the Beal trade.
The Beal trade was
And we were
obviously a bad idea, though, I think.
yes, and I completely agree with that. And even at the time, it looked like the wrong move. So I wasn't too torn up over that, especially when interest in Lillard started popping up.
Hmm.
When Lillard requested a trade specifically to the Heat, I was like, oh yeah, way better than fucking Beal, obviously. But after we didn't get the Lillard trade, a lot of people were like, this is the worst case scenario of running it back. This is the worst case scenario. I can't believe this shit happened again, another year in a row. God damn it. But so far, definitely fucking working out for us. Like Lillard hit the game-winning three in the Bucks game, but if it wasn't for the Kings choking like dogs, Lillard would have been the reason that the Bucks lost. He played an awful fucking game. He just had the most important shot of the game, so everyone's gonna forget about that. But he's consistently been terrible for the Bucks so far this season. Versus Jaquez, Hero, and Jovic are fucking balling out right now, and they're called the Dame package because that plus picks is what we offered up in exchange for Dame. And of course, Lowry for the making the salary thing work.
Hmm. Is Lowry playing well at all this year, by the way?
He has been very decent, considering his age, well above expectations.
Oh, that's cool.
He has been, in fact, quite serviceable. Between that and Hero taking a big step forward, we're not having the problems that we thought we would have in terms of guard play, which has been outstanding. And yeah, Triple J is the surprise of the season and absolutely fantastic. And I said it earlier in the Discord, I'll say it again now. If Wembenyama gets hurt, because Wemby is not the best rookie by a long shot, but he will unanimously win Rookie of the Year because of the way that awards voters are retards. If he gets hurt, so he's disqualified from winning it, Triple J actually ends up being a dark horse to win the award. Because even though Chet's better, Chet is white, and Triple J is Mexican. So this becomes the first Hispanic player to win a season award in the history of the league. And I think that award narrative might actually carry more weight than Chet actually being the better player.
Has an Asian ever won Rookie of the Year?
Um, Yao Ming, I think.
Oh yeah. Wait, did he win or did Amari Stoudemire win Rookie of the Year that year?
I'm gonna check because I want to say that he won Rookie of the Year, and he did not. He was all rookie first team, but Rookie of the Year was Amari. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was Yao.
I feel like Yao barely played
Well,
as a rookie.
no, he did great. He was all rookie first team, and in his rookie season, let me check his stats. He barely played in terms of it was his lowest season in terms of minutes, but he did great. Played 29 minutes a game in his rookie year, but he came in with 13 and a half points per game, 8 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, 2 blocks a game on 50% shooting, and he's actually really talented at shooting jump shots even as a rookie.
It's actually kind of crazy he didn't win Rookie of the Year when you think about it. Like they
Yeah.
wouldn't just like make sure. Well, he was the number one overall pick. He's Chinese. This is like the greatest marketing opportunity ever. Give it to him if it's close. Because I don't think Amari was much better than that.
No, he wasn't. He averaged the exact same amount of points and less rebound.
Hmm.
Um,
Did the Suns make the
he
playoffs with
became
him and the Rockets didn't?
the Suns, led by Stoudemire, Stephon Marbury, Sean Marion, Penny Hardaway, and Joe Johnston, made it to the playoffs but were defeated in 6 games by the Spurs. He was the first player to be drafted out of high school to win Rookie of the Year. LeBron would do it again the following year. That is definitely wild because statistically, he was worse than Yao while playing more minutes. The only reason you could think of to give him the award over Yao is just that the Suns made the playoffs. But you listen to that fucking roster: Stephon Marbury, Sean Marion, Joe Johnson, fucking. I'm not including Penny Hardaway in that list because by then he was busted as fuck. But like, still, that's a
Mm,
hell of a squad.
yeah. I love Sean Marion. He's one of my favorite players ever. I love that ugly jump shot.
Yeah,
Shit was
he made it
hilarious.
work. Absolutely.
Ugly ass post game. Looks like a dude at the YMCA.
He was a hero to everybody who has ever had dog shit form
Hmm.
because he made it work.
So, I had a dream last night where I was living up north again on my own. I think I was renting out a room from a family or something. I can't remember the exact details, but it was the weirdest thing. My car needed to be serviced, so I took it in and I needed to like rent a car to have a car for a while. And I also had to take the bus into work because I was working in Seattle. And the thing that I remember about this dream is it was really difficult because I needed to go pick up my car, but I had left my rented car at the bus depot so I could take the bus to work. So then I would go take the bus to get to my car, and then I would take my car But then I was like, okay, what do I do about my rented car, which is still at the bus? And I couldn't figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, that.
It's the fucking dumbest thing, right? It's like now that I'm awake, it's so obvious the many very clear and obvious solutions to my problem. But when I'm in the dream, I'm like, I cannot figure this out. No matter what I
Yeah.
do, I just leave a car that I need to get somewhere. I don't know. It was fucking weird.
I know how you feel because that's what's so annoying is that it's always like dreams always create this nonsensical problem for you to overcome,
So,
but the rules of the dream are just such bullshit. And then you wake up and you're like, man, that was dumb. Like
yeah.
something I always get in my dreams is I end up in some kind of conflict, and I'm all like, well, wait a minute, I've got a gun. But then like I take out the gun and it doesn't do anything, and then eventually the gun disappears, and then I'm just holding up finger guns and saying bang bang, and then everyone starts laughing at me, and I'm like, why can I never fucking shoot this goddamn gun in my dream?
Yeah, guns don't work in dreams. I've had experience with that.
Fucking bugs the crap out of
You know how they say it's impossible to read in your dreams? I swear to God, I've read in my dreams without issue.
me. I want to sit here and say that it's because in the dream world you're able to read, but if you were awake, it would be something along the lines of like nonsense.
Hmm.
So I think people saying that you can't read in dreams are people who like lucid dream, but then they're fully conscious in their dream, and they can understand that the stuff that they're reading is nonsense. So
Hmm.
then they can't read. But when you're actively dreaming, you can read fine because it's part of the dream that you read.
Mm. Makes sense.
Next, do you think Scoot will pan out? Yes, absolutely. Because like right now, the Blazers suck. Horrible roster. And Scoot is the only component of that team that gets any defensive attention at all. And I was just having this conversation the other day with my dad. We were talking about football, but it applies to every major sport too, which is that it is totally and completely perfectly fine that sometimes a guy needs more time to cook. You know, you can have a guy who just needs longer to develop, who will still be very good once he gets there. And I use Geno Smith as an example. It doesn't mean shit to the Jets that he's so good for the Seahawks right now, but he just needed more time to cook.
Yeah. I mean, even Kobe didn't really break out until his fifth year.
Right. You know? And Kobe was like the hardest working basketball player ever. It's okay to need more time to cook. But there's so much pressure on draft picks who are looked at as being the future of the franchise to perform immediately. You know, guys like LeBron are exceptionally rare. And you look at Wembanyama right now. Everyone's calling the franchise. Everyone's calling him. He's the future face of the league and all this shit.
Yeah.
He sucks. He's fucking terrible. He's got a busted ass jump shot. He turns the ball over more than anybody else relative to his usage percentage. He gets bodied constantly for being the tallest guy in the league right now. He just needs more time to cook.
I know.
Way fucking more time to cook. But he's got a ton of pressure on him to succeed right now. What Wembenyama has that Scoot doesn't is the entire sports media taping up for him because they want him to be the face of the league. If Scoot had that level of attention, people would be hardcore caping up for him too. So don't worry about Scoot right now. It's his first season, and the Blazers suck. Worst case scenario is that he needs more time to cook, but like he's a capable player. I'm big on Team Scoot. I was saying the same thing to Nuggets fans way back in the day with Jokic. because like they weren't expecting anything out of Jokic because he was taken in the second round. But his first couple of games, he was like really struggling to get it going, and I was like, the guy's got great fundamentals, man. Just let him cook. Of course, Jokic got it together much faster than a lot of other people do, but that's part of being the goat.
George is getting upset.
George likes his chicken spicy.
Have you ever had a shower that didn't take? I think I've had a few like that.
Usually when I go a little fast, I'm like, man, I probably should have spent more time in some of these problem areas. But
Mm-hmm. And again,
Jokic, Luca, Holmgren, Sabonis, Porzingis are my favorites. I gotta say, I really like that list myself.
well, you can't forget Myers Leonard.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to put Myers Leonard in there. Future Heat legend, Nikola Jovic. He belongs on that roster. All. And you know, everybody considers Hispanics white these days. So you might as well throw in JJJ. George Zimmerman fucked it up for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, look, they may have called Myers Leonard an anti Semite, but he was the first dude talking about he could hear Hebrew being spoken underneath his floor,
Which is really weird. Which is really troubling because that means the tunnel goes all the way from New York to Miami.
which makes a hell of a lot of sense. Every New York Jew has fucking wintered and retired in Miami for decades. How do they keep getting there, huh? No one sees them on a plane.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's like the Underground Railroad, but Christ.
Jesus Christ. I start making fucking memes about the Jews being dwarves from Lord of the Rings. They dug too deep and too greedily. Instead of the eagle becoming a fascist symbol, it'll be the Balrog.
A little bit of fascism goes a long way.
That's right.
If you were out at like a bar having a beer or something,
Mhm.
and it like wasn't a gay bar or anything, it was a normal bar, and then some guy went up behind you and smacked your ass and was like, "Hey, brother," what would your reaction be? You think?
I would instantaneously turn around and ask him what the fuck his problem was. Like,
Yeah, that
that's
happened to a friend that I used to have, who was a big guy. He was Swedish. He's like 6 foot something, bigger
mhm,
guy.
mhm.
And luckily, he was a calmer individual. He was not somebody who was going to just. And he just like grabbed him on the shoulder and was like, "You don't want to do that again, do you?" And then the guy freaks out and is like, "No, I don't," and he runs out of the bar.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. No, I had 2 days ago. when I was door dashing. I had some Karen was following me around. It was the stupidest fucking thing because like I was trying to make a right turn to get out of this area. It was a four-way intersection, and the other three possible roads would just lead deeper into the residential zone. But making a right turn from where I was at would take me back to the roads that lead back to the main street arteries that get me out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to make that right turn, but then the car blocked me. And I was like, what the fuck? So I'm like, okay. So then I just drive forward to try to, eventually be able to make a right turn to get around. And no bullshit, they followed me. And then they turn on their fucking high beams so I can't see anything. So I instantly slam on my brakes, put it in park, get out of my car, and I go, what the fuck is your problem? And then they start taking pictures of me and then they drive off. And I'm all like, what the fuck? But it was a Friday night. Some dumbass Karen, as this was the rich side of town. So I'm driving my busted up car. She's driving her fucking big ass Mercedes. And she's just taking pictures because I don't know why he's here. He might be here to sell drugs. Like, I'm delivering food, you dumb cunt. Why are you following people
Huh.
on Friday night? What the fuck?
Weird one.
But like, I was ready to throw down. I was pissed.
I can imagine. Key Lime Pie. I played the first Borderlands. I liked it a lot. I did co-op on the second Borderlands game with the snacks years ago, and I didn't like it as much. He didn't like it at all. I liked it moderately. I like the first one more than the second one. There's something about that formula I'm not a fan of. It feels a little too arcadey for me. It's the same problem I have with Halo.
Holy shit, bro! You've got to check this tweet out. It's amazing.
Mhm. 1 second. If you say. Okay, let me take a look here. Pretty much.
Works on so many levels. I love the North Korean lady meme.
And I have so much Cowboys content to watch
Absolutely.
tonight. I need to make sure I go to bed early enough to work out tomorrow. The good news is I don't have to work tomorrow because it's a holiday.
Yeah, yeah, Holland.
It is.
I know.
I have Borderlands 3 but haven't played it yet. Unfortunately, it is a co-op game, but it's a co-op game that Snacks is not interested in playing. So I'm probably going to play it on my own at some point, but it's a long way away. I got so much to get through. It's not even funny. Like, that was kind of the problem I had when we played. Was it Halo 4 or Halo 5? It felt like an arcade game to me.
Four.
Yeah, 4.
Four, because five 5 was not part of the Master Chief Collection. I don't think they ever made it for console. I think it's or PC rather.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah. The only
I
part
think it's
about Halo 4
still
that was good was the mechs.
yeah. Yeah, Halo 4 was a catastrophe. Halo 5 like still is pants on head retarded. It's just so much disappointment. Like they should have stopped at Halo 3. The only other game that they made that was half justified was Reach.
Didn't you like ODST?
Yeah, but that was part of 3.
Oh, okay, I see. And now they've revealed that Master Chief is a ginger and everything's just ruined, so who cares about anything?
Exactly. Ouch, my neck.
Oh, so I forgot to ask earlier. How overall, how was dashing? Oh wait, no, you never went, right?
Yeah,
Because you got sick. Okay,
coming
never mind.
down with the yeah,
The 878th COVID strain.
exactly. This is pretty funny. Chunk Yogurt from the Young Turks is trying to convince people to back the movement to put up somebody else instead of Biden
Hmm.
in the election. He's
Right.
going, I can't believe Biden's still running. No one believes he can win at this point. He's 19 points lower than in 2020 when he barely won the Electoral College. You're detached from reality if you think he's going to pull off the biggest comeback in American political history. And the comments are filled with people saying it's because he's going to cheat. It's because he intends to cheat. We've been trying to tell you for years. Oh, he's fucking turning the comments. Oh man, that's amazing.
Hmm. Yeah, I did see that key lime pie. I saw that. It was pretty good. And I hope he's right too, because I like Trey Brown. I mean, you know how in politics there's the margin of error?
Mm,
There's also a thing I think called the margin of fraud, where there's only so much that you
yes,
can do. And that's what people are talking about. Is this poll within the potential margin of fraud? So, I mean, he still has to do most of the work in theory, even if that is the plan. You can't just sit back and expect that to do all the work any more than we can sit back and
exactly.
expect God to do all the work.
Exactly. And now we remember that we need to get Joker to play, do a New Vegas run.
Yeah, man. I'm worried I'm gonna do it and spend like 100 hours in it.
Yeah, more than likely. There's just so much fucking content.
I love that game. I don't remember if I did everything the first time I played it, but I may have. Yeah, so it's looking like DeSantis is going to finish third in Iowa, which is humiliating.
Very good. Who comes in second?
Nikki Haley.
Oh, jeez.
Well, Christie dropped out, and most of the Christie voters had Nikki Haley as their second choice. Not that there were
Oh,
very many, but that's why.
fair enough.
Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why he might think that feed me more. But again, like I understand DeSantis losing to Trump. Nobody's beating Trump right now in the party. No way, no how. But he should at least be able to finish second. It's kind of embarrassing at this point because he's tried to distance
Yes.
himself from Trump. It's not like it's Trump is stealing all of his potential support because he's the second choice of all the Trump voters. No, that's Vivek.
Right.
To my recollection, Trump did not win Iowa in 2016, so the fact that he's obviously going to win it this time is very notable. I want to say Ted Cruz won it in 2016, but I might be wrong.
Oh, I thought you meant the election. I was like, what? But no, yeah, Ted Cruz did win in Iowa. I remember because people who hated Trump were absolutely fucking doing cartwheels that Cruz won in Iowa. I think Trump came in third in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
It was either third or a distant second.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I wasn't even paying any attention to the election because
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was
Mm-hmm.
when Hillary was going to crookedly win. So I didn't care. I hadn't even been paying attention to anything yet. All of a sudden, everyone's like, "Ooh, Trump lost." I'm like, "Dude, who the fuck cares?" And it wasn't until a couple of months later that all the memes and everything taking off really grabbed my attention. But I do remember because at the time I was talking to Ham, and Ham couldn't shut up about it. I'm like, dude, I don't care about politics. Why you just nonstop?
That's the thing. Like, you look at all the poll numbers, there's every reason to believe Trump is going to sweep the entire primary. He's going to win like every single state. And it wasn't even close to that in 2016. Like, he lost, I think he might have lost New Hampshire too. And then maybe he won South Carolina and kind of got on a roll there. I'm not sure. But, like, that was not an easy primary. And this primary is going to be one of the easiest ever.
Well, I'm trying to look it up right now, but the areas, um, okay, here we go. Here we go. So the Iowa caucus in 2016 occurred on February 1st.
Hmm.
Ted Cruz won 28% of the vote. Donald Trump came in second, 24%. And it was a very close second. That's what I was remembering. Because at 23% was Marco Rubio.
Oh.
What is highly impressive is that Ben Carson took home more of the votes than Jeb Bush.
Hmm.
Jeb Bush 3%, Ben Carson 9%. So Ben actually tripled up on Jeb, came away with three delegates to Jeb's one. Absolutely flattened.
Ben Carson has got to be one of the greatest Americans ever.
One of the what?
Greatest Americans ever, I think.
Yes, I agree. He's like the best neurosurgeon of all time. Most most of what we know, and when I say we, I'm referring to the entire planet, the human race. Most of what we know about performing brain surgery on babies and also fetuses in utero is because of Ben Carson,
Hmm.
which is astonishing.
Yeah, they call him God Hands in
Yeah.
the in.
So,
Hmm.
but people give him shit for all kinds of different reasons, and it's like the guy.
Yeah, I think he
We,
believes like that the ancient pyramids were used to store grain or something, which is obviously not true. But I also don't
when
care. It doesn't affect my life at all.
And what's even worse is in that particular story, Ben Carson was talking about an incident where he learned, and he
Hmm.
said, he was saying that he loves learning, and he said, even these days, I find I'm still learning, because I used to think that the pyramids were for storing grain, and I learned that was very incorrect. But
Hmm.
everyone's like, oh my God, Ben Carson believes pyramids are storing or are grain storage buildings. It's like, dude, it's like that time Liam Neeson was sharing a story about a friend of his was sexually assaulted by a black man. So when he got the news, the night that he heard about it, he went out looking to beat up the first black guy that he saw. Which, to be fair, if he had seen a black guy, it was like a 99% chance it would have been the guy who had actually done this because this was in Ireland in the fucking 70s. But
Jesus.
he was like, thank God I came to my senses and I realized that, just because I was hurt and I was angry for what had happened to my friend, it didn't mean that I should, just ruthlessly attack someone when I don't even know if they were the culprit or not. And feeling that way, it was a wrong thing. But then people went crazy on, oh my God, Liam Neeson's racist, and all this kind of shit about, oh God, he's so awful, he's so evil, and all this kind of crap. It's like the guy literally shared a moment, like a learning moment in his life, trying to share a story about something wrong that he did, and then what he did to correct that error. And you still vilify him for it. It's like, why the fuck would anyone share any mistake they've ever made or any weakness that they've ever had or anything like that? People these days are just fucking vultures, and the only thing they want to do is just jump on you at a moment's notice. No one will empathize or sympathize with you at all anymore. They're just looking to take advantage of any opportunity you give them. It's
Hmm.
fucking sick.
And I wonder if Mike McCarthy will get fired before I go to the gym tomorrow or while I'm at the gym.
I think it'll be even earlier. In fact, I think Mike McCarthy is going to get fired right now.
That'd be so cold if somebody actually fired a head coach the day of a playoff loss.
Can you imagine how hilarious it would be if, like, it's a playoff game and the owners of both teams are on the sideline standing right next to their coach, and they have a sealed envelope in their hand. Inside the envelope is the pink slip, and if the moment one team loses, the owner immediately hands it to the coach. Oh my god!
Germany's army is preparing for a Russian attack. Tens of thousands of German soldiers would be deployed, according to a classified document obtained by BILD.
Jesus.
Now, I don't know if any of you are history buffs, but for some reason, this tweet makes me laugh because of the implication.
Jesus Christ!
I don't know. There's just something about that that hits.
Yeah, that's absolutely hilarious. Also, I thought those were anal beads from the thumbnail when the video was loaded. I was like, oh God, what's he cooking?
Remember, I think it was the second Jackass movie. They were flying a kite with anal beads.
Oh God, rough.
Uh,
Oh, yeah, I'm continuing to read the thing. Iowa was for Ted Cruz, and then he lost every other caucus until there was, I think, Super Tuesday or something on March,
mhm.
where he won Alaska, Oklahoma, and Texas, and lost everything else. Trump won everything else except for Minnesota, where Marco Rubio took.
Hmm. Random.
Yeah.
The amazing thing is, Trump almost won Minnesota against Hillary, and he couldn't even win the primary. That's actually insane.
Absolutely. And it gets even crazier when you think about their attempted voter fraud in 2016 that they completely fucked up on. That's why everyone makes fun of Hillary now. She lost a rigged election.
What do you guys think about Jed Fish? I like him a lot, but I'm not expecting big results this year. I'm just not. I think that it's going to be a little bit of a down year, and then maybe we can build back up after that. But I don't think it's because Jed Fish is bad. I think he's good. I'm just hoping we can make a bowl game this year. Honestly, I'll be happy with any bowl game. I wonder what percentage of people get MLK Day off from work, because obviously the reason why they only have one playoff game on Monday at night is because they want people to be home from work before it starts. But the game tomorrow starts at 1:30. So are they just going to live with the fact that a lot of people won't be able to watch because they'll be at work, or does everybody get that day off?
A lot of blue collar jobs, it's not it's not a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was in the union, um, getting the holiday calendar for days that we had off, and um, what was nice was that we got the Friday after Thanksgiving off, but we did not get MLK Day off. No,
Mm-hmm.
and this is wild. Seeing this Tinder posted fraud. Married and wanting to have an affair or relationship ongoing. No, my husband doesn't know, and I want to keep this extremely private. Then she says, a bunch of standards for the guy she's looking for. Then she says, not just after sex. So if that's all you're looking for, please don't match with me. Like what? You literally make a Tinder account and say that you want to have an affair, and then you say, I'm not just after sex.
Mm-hmm.
Are you fucking insane?
Jesus. Well,
Oh man, women have to be stopped. This is too much.
really. Um, Bingo, bango, bongo. Oil in the gas tank. I saw a little bit of it, Big Country. I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. The only thing I know about Whitlock recently, really, though, is that he posted that picture on X of an advertisement for on ESPN for like what was it, like gay anal porn, and he was like, "Why is this on ESPN?" And then everybody pointed out that that just looks at your own search history and comes up with ads based off of it, dude, don't you? Which was hilarious.
Nice.
It was something like that. I can't remember exactly what the nature of the advertisement was, but it was not good. But my boner lasts forever with my fist up your ass. Hydraulic pressure low. Okay, I think I see what's going on here. Oh, shit.
Jesus Christ.
Riley
The
Reed.
fucking headline. What a fucking headline. A shooting being reported occurring in Washington, D.C. Shooting occurs at Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue at Malcolm X Avenue Southeast near the Popeyes.
Huh. Oh, that is a good one. Wow. You wouldn't eat broccoli if it were dipped in chocolate sauce. I love broccoli. It's good for you. Jabbar Mohammed's great, yeah. Okay, that's not bad, David. I'm not against that.
Yeah, watching the like personally, I feel like watching the draft for any sport is retarded, especially for basketball. 'Cause that's not like the first three picks. The rest is okay, whatever. I mean, like the draft is a complete joke. Its only purpose is just to give us memes. Like when the Knicks drafted Porzingis and the Knicks fans were mauling in the audience, that was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
When Nikola Jokic gets drafted and it's during a Taco Bell commercial on NBA TV.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Every app is a dating app if you're Indian enough.
Jesus. I want to see Bob's and Vagine.
Exactly. Oh my god. I was
Goddamn.
in the comment to an article that was talking about an Indian doctor gets accused of sexual assault because apparently he was a cancer doctor and he would take advantage of women that had cancer because he was like, well, you're dying anyway. Like, what the fuck?
That's like
That is
that's like
that's
Saul
so
Goodman.
insanely fucked up.
Remember
Yeah.
Saul? He's like the dude's gonna die of cancer in a few months anyway. Who cares if we steal from him? He's not even gonna know until he's dead. Okay, let's see here. Stop eating cake is just generally good advice, I think.
Yeah,
What's wrong with that? I just DM'd you something, by the way.
yeah, I like it. It's quality stuff.
Quality dong.
Brendan, do you plan on going to the inner city for MLK Day? What the fuck kind of question is that?
Of course
Obviously, he's going to. He needs to fill up his gas tank.
I am.
Dual donors could be near.
Ex-boyfriends could be here.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
that no one gives a shit about the second round. Like second round picks year after year end up being like half the dudes don't even end up playing in the league.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Fucking no words, man. Goddamn.
My bit rate is in the toilet right now. I wonder if this is a restream
Oh,
issue. Why can I not kill this fucking thing?
ouch. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain, and the wave and the wheat can sure no sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain.
I forgot Mike Brown is the head coach of the Kings.
Ah, ah, ah. Tragic.
That explains why they left. They choked that game, I guess.
Exactly.
There we go. I actually got it. I'm surprised. Hey, Austin. Yep, Lions fucked them up.
Who do the Lions play next?
It depends on who wins tomorrow. I think they play whoever wins tomorrow, Bucks or Eagles.
Um, do they have home field for whoever wins?
Yes.
Oh, well, neat.
I was kind of hoping for a Lions and Browns Super Bowl, because that way we could say we beat both teams that are in the Super Bowl this year, which is almost as good as winning the Super Bowl when you think about it.
Yeah.
You get to claim
It would have also
superiority.
it would have also been amazing because you could have been like, hey, this is going to be a big time. First is over, no matter who wins.
Hmm.
Personally, I was hoping for a Dolphins Cowboys Super Bowl because the Cowboys would have been the most beatable team, as we saw.
Boy, were they beatable.
Oh yeah,
I think even the Seahawks would have beaten them today, and that is saying something.
yeah. That is a god awful team.
Okay, I think that was the. I think we're now on mission number 6 out of 14. All right, we're making our way. All right, guys, I'm going to take a short break. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we are back, everybody. Let's rock. Yeah, the Lions went further than the Cowboys. I love it. Absolutely beautiful.
Hmm.
Man, I wonder if McCarthy ever works in the NFL again at this point. Honestly, like he's been fired twice in the last 6 years. Hopefully, the other teams get the hint. Do they have an out with the Dak contract yet? I think they're still stuck to it. They can't really move off of him right now. They might be stuck with Dak, which sucks. And I generally defend Dak and like Dak, but that was an epic faceplant. He's been a head coach for so long. I wonder if he would take a coordinator job. I heard about that, David. I mean, he's right. He has a little bit of a point there, don't he? I mean, it's not that I completely hate Dan Quinn or anything, but after today, I would really like to see his name removed from consideration because it proves that the people making the decision are paying attention and they're like, whoa, wait a minute here. This guy just got boat raced by a 7 seed. Maybe we should reconsider. Yeah. Like, to a certain extent, if they pick Trey Lance, if I'm sorry, they pick Mike McCarthy, or allow me to speak properly, Dan Quinn. it kind of proves they had already decided on Dan Quinn and weren't going to let anything that happened change their mind. So I would kind of like to see them go somewhere else just because it proves they're willing to change their mind based on new evidence. Be here. Let me do a search on X.com for Dak Prescott. Nope, here are the memes.
That's expected.
Yep, the memes are here. Know that it's a long running cliche, but these memes always make me laugh. It goes all the way back to the Roy Hilbert memes.
I'll check it out in a minute.
Mm-mm. Are you playing Red Dead or something?
Uh, no,
Yeah, I would not mind seeing an offensive offsides rematch. If they do play each other, then I hope that on the first play of the game, Kadarius Tony lines up offsides just to like for the meme.
that would be pretty funny. I agree.
Man, you know that offensive offsides literally is the reason why the Bills are in the playoffs right now. They were about to lose that game to the Chiefs. Their season's basically over.
Yeah, you're right because if the Bills had lost one more game, then they would have met the playoff.
with the way that things were, and we would have clinched the division if the Bills had lost one more game, even if we ended up losing that final game of the year.
Well, they probably would have
So
rested
yeah,
starters for that game, yeah.
yeah, things could have been a lot better than they ended up being, sadly.
Hmm. Bills are undefeated ever since Sean McDermott was revealed as an Al Qaeda sympathizer. The hell do I go? Kramer, you can't say that about your quarterback. Here we go. different teams in the AP Top 10 lost this week, all at least once to an unranked opponent. Only the second time in history that that's happened. Wild. The Jerk Store called. They're running out of Mike McCarthy. George, just tell him you had sex with his wife. Hmm. Feels like 1 year too long, but I guess it'll do. There's no way McCarthy survives this, though. There's no way. McCarthy was even handling play calling duties this year. And I know he had a good year overall, but I don't think there's any way he survives this. He already pushed out Kellen Moore. All right, here we go. I like McCarthy in the third round. I
Dak Prescott looking in the mirror. That's pretty good.
love the trash can memes. Like I remember people
That
kept doing
is
it with
pretty good.
Roy Hibbert. You know, Dak Prescott, the museum called. They're running out of busts. Tua, the guitar store called. They're running out of picks.
Jesus. To the diaper store called. They're running out of feces. Now, Dak's been a part of that Cowboys team for so long that it was initially, let's turn back the clock here for a minute and think about it. Dak and Ezekiel Elliott.
It was Dak and Des Bryant for the first 2 years.
That's a good point, too. Like, holy crap. He's been that quarterback for a minute. And I bring that up because, obviously, Tua's criticism is completely justified and valid, and I hope the plane crashes on the ride home. But
In Minecraft.
yes, but this is still only Tua's fourth season. That's
Hmm.
been around for a minute. This really needed to be the moment where he finally fucking put all the doubting to rest and took a huge step forward and actually won convincingly in the playoffs, and instead the exact opposite happened.
Well,
People are talking about the Cowboys firing their head coach. Obviously, that does need to happen, but what they really need to look at doing is moving on from Dak.
they're stuck with his contract for one more year, and then they can make a decision.
It's completely true. Here's what I think they should do. They should hire Bill because Bill wants to chase Shula's record, and that'll still get him plenty of attention for the next few seasons as Bill works to get the record. Um, Once Dak's contract expires, just let him go and pick up somebody else as a capable game manager that Bill could continue to win games with.
Hmm.
But just be thinking long term that uh, that's really all you're playing for is just Bill's record and the circus and the tuning in to watch that dumpster fire. But once Bill hits it and he retires, it'll be right around the same time Jerry Jones is so old that he'll either step back because he's fucking ancient or he'll just outright croak. Once that happens, then just fucking blow it up. Start over.
Sounds good to me.
Because that squad is done so.
Hmm.
This is really amazing. This meme post from a couple days ago.
Hmm.
I'll show it to you. You may have already seen it because it's been a fairly popular meme.
Sure. I have not seen that. That's pretty good.
Well, naturally, there's a ton of people who start fucking coming in, being like, "Oh my God, this is so racist." Here's a look at some African castles. Every single one that they post, it is true, it is in Africa. However, it was made by Europeans. Like castles in Morocco that were made by Europeans. They were constructed by the Spanish and the Portuguese when they owned those parts of Morocco. Castles in South Africa that were made by the British when they controlled South Africa, and so on. So it's hilarious when all these, oh my God, look at these African castles. There's one ancient one. They're like, look at this African castle. It's in Egypt, and it's like, yeah, it was made by the Romans. Like, truly hilarious.
Well, JS, I don't want to. I don't want to overreact too much to one game, JS, but I'm pretty convinced we can do better at this point. Like, there's got to be something better than Dan Quinn. Again, I'm not trying to overreact to one game, but he was already on thin ice as is.
Right. Who is this for that you posted this? Like, this is the most based resume I've ever seen.
I
What?
everyone's trying to figure it out. Somebody posted the screenshot and didn't say who it was, and everyone and a bunch of people in my timeline are trying to figure out who it is.
It feels like Cinderella when he's trying to find his foot fits the slipper.
Maybe it's that guy who called Angela Merkel an unfuckable lardars.
Oh man, absolutely outstanding.
Roses are red. Naruto has too much filler. Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think Jim Schwartz is going to get a head coaching job again. First one did not go super well. A jerk store called. They changed their name to Netflix. Like, it is worth. I mean, I do think there is some merit to the point that Dallas's defense kind of blew dick against every good offense they played, except for Miami, and they still lost to Miami.
Yeah, and obviously bringing up Miami as the lone exception. Miami may have had an incredible offense this season, but we proved time and time and time again, because I was waiting the entire fucking season for things to turn around, but all we did was just beat up on shit teams and pad those stats on garbage. And there's a reason that the only playoff team we beat was the Cowboys. The Cowboys were probably the only playoff team other than the Dolphins who were that bad, and that's fraudulent.
Uh-huh. Maybe. Although we'll see about the Eagles tomorrow, man. I got a feeling.
Well, yeah, that's definitely true.
Uh-huh.
But honestly, at this point, I think even an injured Steelers team is probably more is going to end up being more impressive than the Cowboys or the Dolphins both.
Mm-hmm.
I just cannot say enough negative things about the Dolphins. I truly hate this organization, and I wish everyone involved with it got fired out of a cannon into the sun. I hope that the owner sells the team. I hope that the team moves to like Oklahoma as punishment. This is disgraceful.
Carson, I did see that, but I'm not really sure what I want to say to it yet. Hold on one second here. Yeah, Carson, I might be willing to use stuff like that. That's stuff that would fit in my video as well, I think. Yeah. Sorry I never got back to you about that. I've been busy as hell. I need health. Yeah, I think McDaniel's great. Big country. I mean, he's only been there 2 years. He's made the playoffs twice. Maybe he just doesn't have
Yeah,
his quarterback yet. We'll see.
yeah. McDaniel's the lone bright spot here. He has weaknesses as a coach for sure. Dolphins fans have routinely been criticizing him for going away from the run when it's working, because Kane and Mustair both have been excellent running backs this season. Kane has been so good that it would not be unjustified for him to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's been very good. However, at the same time, you got to consider like CJ Stroud will almost certainly fucking get that instead.
Hmm.
But it wouldn't feel like a travesty of justice if a Kane got it.
Hmm. Right.
And our running game was a huge reason why our offense was as good as it was, because when our running game was popping off, that's when our passing game was able to open up so much. It was so good. And McDaniel routinely, and especially yesterday, abandoned the run so many different times when he needed it. Like it's 3rd and 1, and he goes for a pass. It's 4th and 1, and he goes for a pass. And it's like, bro, holy shit! When a Kane is averaging 4 or 5 yards a carry, and he hasn't gotten fucking devastated at the line yet this game, let him go. Let him cook. Let him do something here. Because the more pressure that you put onto in that situation, the more likely he's gonna fucking choke. So that's definitely a huge problem for McDaniel. But as a young coach, that's just something that, he himself has got to work on. The positives far outweigh his negatives, and just like Joker said, we've made the playoffs twice since he came in with largely the same roster that Brian Flores could not us with.
Hmm.
We damn near won our division twice with McDaniel. Eventually, we will win the division with McDaniel if he keeps this up. Yeah, we just got to make better roster decisions here. But yeah, McDaniel's the lone bright spot for this organization, definitely. Um, he has valid criticism about his coaching style. He did make mistakes, and he did share part of the blame for the loss. Not just the loss against the Chiefs yesterday, but every loss that we've had. The horrendous loss against the Ravens, the horrendous loss, both of them against the Bills, the choke against the Titans. You know, a lot of that shit is definitely valid there. But if we had to keep only one person who's with the organization right now and get rid of absolutely everybody else, I'd want to keep McDaniel, and then everybody else can leave.
Hmm. Sounds about right.
That's how I feel about it. So I mean that's really the only positive the Dolphins fans can take away from this is at the very least we've got our coach of the future. But as far as anything else is concerned, that's a bit of a different story.
We'll see what happens next year.
Well, you guys will. I ain't fucking watching any of these games. Fuck that shit.
Mm.
Fool me 1 through 15 times, shame on you. Fool me 16 or more times, shame on me.
I like that. like this sniper rifle. Okay, who the fuck? Oh, my sniper bullet just bisected that fucker. Man, man. I don't. I wish I knew what to say. But Ravens don't even have that great of players. That's goofy as hell. His players are not that different from the players that produced shitty results in 2021. He has what? Kyle Hamilton is probably the blue chipper they added. Hmm, if there's any. We talk about it. Okay. Yeah, the part of the Ghost of Tsushima intro that stands out to me, and obviously, this probably isn't a controversial take. It's that part where the Chinese guy comes up to the Mongol expecting like an honorable type duel situation, like an honorable battle, and the Mongol just literally throws his torch at him to set him on fire. Makes me think of that. There's a Sean Connery Bond movie where like he's doing karate against a bad guy and the bad guy like bows thinking that Bond's gonna bow back, and Bond just like kicks him right in the face when he puts his head down. He's like, fuck it, I don't care about that shit. I'm just gonna kill you. Why would I care if it's fair? Hey, that's another reason why the Mongols beat China. Not only were all their guys bigger, they also had no sense of honor.
Exactly.
They just wanted to fucking kill you. They didn't care how it happened. That doesn't make any sense to me, dude. I don't know. I hope not. And here we are. Didn't Corbin Smith say he's stepping away? Who's he? Oh, you mean as in Corbin Smith himself? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I'm not a huge fan of Corbin Smith. He strikes me as the kind of guy who is trying to be nice and positive to everybody. Like I remember him writing an article about how improved Kyle Fuller was at center in 2021. It's like, bro, Kyle Fuller at no point in his life deserved an article. And then immediately after that article, he turned into like the worst center I've ever seen. Family issues? Okay. I wouldn't know very much about that. Oh yeah, absolutely, JS. I agree. I feel like at the very least, the Pete Carroll guys are putting effort into really dissecting things. They just can't get off of some of their pre-existing biases. I, was that the Browns game or the Cowboys game? Oh, Locked On Seahawks has barely posted any videos lately. They're basically a dead channel. Jeez, I didn't realize that was going on. Okay, they do streams, they just haven't done videos. Rams believe Tyler Higbee tore his ACL. He might miss the start of next season then, right? You might miss a lot of next season, actually. Dang, that's kind of a bad one. How do I get through here? Um, that hell makes you think? Seems very weird that you think I want to garbage. Uh, I think Puka is going to become public enemy number one for Seahawks fans. People are really, really primed to hate that guy for a few different reasons. Uh, oh, okay. I think this is where I'm supposed to be. Thank God. Jesus. What was that? I think this is where I'm supposed to be. Maybe not. Like, it's very annoying that we spent a first round pick on a slot receiver and the Rams spent a fifth round pick on a slot receiver, and it looks like they may have gotten the better one. I think that's gonna not sit well with people. And it really highlights another reason why we needed a fresh start away from Pete. Stuff like that. The Rams had had a better draft than we did with no picks. Meanwhile, we had two firsts and 2 seconds. Not okay. Not okay. Wait, this is just leading me in a fucking circle. This is where I came from. I climb out the window. No.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab some food.
Okay. Jesus Christ, what am I doing? Where am I supposed to go? This shit don't make no fucking sense. No, I don't want a pistol. Wait a minute. Oh, is this it? Yes. Fucking finally. Wait a minute. Am I supposed to pilot this thing? Am I an Ava pilot? Yes. I am now an Ava pilot. Death penalty for double parkers. This is not a society if people can do this. Be right back, guys. All right, we are back, everybody. Probably not for terribly much longer here, but we are back. Hey, Key Lime Pie. Oh no, I just got stuff I got to do, and I'm going to the gym tomorrow. Not too much, and I got more videos to make, of course. His wife's in a coma.
Oh, I guess that explains why she wasn't moving around.
See, Snacks is better at coming up with quick comebacks than George.
Exactly. One of my favorite George misunderstanding moments of all time is well, I mean, first of all, I love anything where he's working for the Yankees.
Uh-huh.
When he's with the Yankees, that is just comedy gold, start to finish.
Uh-huh.
But my favorite George misunderstanding moment is when he pretends that he's working by looking annoyed all the time.
Oh yeah.
And then at the very end, when he made friends with the guys from Houston,
I was watching the clips from that
but
earlier
they have a
today.
very right, and they've got that very particular way of talking. So the executive comes in and he sees George and he's all like, "You tell that son of a bitch, and no Yankees ever coming to Houston. Not as long as you bastards are running things." George,
Yeah,
why do
Wilhelm.
you think you? That was amazing.
Mm-hmm. I like the one where they all think he's stealing equipment from the Yankees because he was sweating because the shower didn't take. That's a good one.
George, then why are you sweating? It's the chicken. George likes his chicken spicy.
George would never steal from the Yankees. Of course, George wouldn't steal from the Yankees. I own it. Yes. So you see that George would never do that. Yes, Costanza.
Oh man, that stuff was amazing.
So I read somewhere that for the first couple seasons of Seinfeld, Jason Alexander was basically doing a Woody Allen impression when he was playing Jason. And then
Oh
eventually
really?
Larry David just told him, just do an impression of me. It's me, basically. And you can really tell when he realized that and adapted for it. And I think it got better.
Yeah, yeah, that does explain a lot. Early Seinfeld, he does feel a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Even.
now that you bring up the Woody Allen
Mm-hmm.
comparison, that definitely tracks. I agree. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. You know, the crazy thing is that the Jerk Store episode is in season 8 of 9. Usually, by the time you get to like the last season or two, it sucks. It's run out of material. It's not good anymore. Like the Jerk Store episode, I think is one of the best episodes they ever did, and it came right near the end of the line. It's still so weird to me they actually did a clip show. That was a bad idea, I think.
It seems weird as hell looking back on it, but you gotta remember, back in the '90s, every show did clip shows.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Seinfeld wasn't supposed to be sentimental. It wasn't supposed to be a show where we really loved the characters and stuff. It was, nobody ever learned anything. Nobody ever became a better person. Everyone was just, self centered and.
I know, but like that stuff was ubiquitous back in the '90s.
Mm-hmm.
The next generation had a clip show episode.
Yeah. Do you remember the song they had playing for the clip show, by the way?
For the Seinfeld clip
Yeah,
show.
Seinfeld.
Um, I think I do.
Yeah, it was a
But since
Green
I
Day.
started talking about all these different clip shows, I'm remembering Next Generation I brought up as an example. Home Improvement had a clip show episode. The Simpsons had multiple clip show episodes. The Critic, which had John Lovett, was a very close personal friend of Phil Hartman. And The Critic was, even though it wasn't made by Matt Groening, there was a lot of overlap in terms of the humor and the writing staff and the actors between The Critic and The Simpsons. And The Critic didn't get renewed for a third season. So the final episode of The Critic is actually a clip show
Mm-hmm.
because they made that before they realized they weren't going to get renewed. Clip shows were fucking everywhere in the 90s.
Yeah, but the song they used for the Seinfeld clip show was "Time of Your Life" by Green Day, which is a very somber and morose
Oh
song,
my god,
which is
that
does not fit at all. It
yeah, that
doesn't
is
work one
horrendous.
bit.
Um, that is super bad. That is very very bad.
Hmm.
I remember when I was in fifth grade, um, for celebrating the graduation or whatever from fifth grade. So now you move on from elementary school to middle school. They made us sing that, and they made us sing that because all the teachers were a bunch of at the time wine aunts, wine moms, early 30s, you know, absolute basic as they come.
Hmm.
So they thought it was cute as hell. I'm sitting here like, why do we have to sing this fucking song?
That reminds me, I had a friend once who was working at the University of Pittsburgh, and he would go to the Pittsburgh Panthers games. And after every game, it was a tradition for all the fans to stand up, hold hands with their next door neighbors, and sing a Sweet Caroline. And he's like, "Fuck that! I'm not gonna do that. That shit's gay."
Yeah, that is pretty gay.
He's like, "Fuck that! No."
Yeah. Yeah, and that would have been my reaction had I been requested to do something like that as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was in fifth grade, I was like, what?
Mm-hmm. That's a man.
What?
That is
That
so fucking weird.
was, oh, it was 2001 to 2002. So I was 10. Man, it was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Man, TNG had a clip show episode. That's so weird because the show is supposed to be like episodic.
Right.
That
And
doesn't work.
it's part of the failure of the first two seasons of the show
Mm-hmm.
because that's why the best of both worlds is remembered so incredibly fondly because it was really the period where the show turned the corner. The first two seasons were so rough and bad and not polished, and the show was still trying to find itself that they very nearly got canceled. And the best of both worlds was just so cool. This idea of the Borg and how the Federation was getting their asses beat, and um, having a major character like Captain Picard, you didn't know if he was going to be written off the show forever. And there were all these leaks that long term we know now it was a misdirection, but back then people didn't know for sure. There was leaks that Patrick Stewart wanted to leave the show.
Mm-hmm.
So they thought that this was their effort to actually write off the character of Captain Picard, and then Jonathan Frakes as Riker would take over.
Mm.
So the show headed in a positive direction there, but that clip show occurs in the second season, which is one of the worst seasons of Star Trek in the entire franchise, not counting the shit that they've done in the last couple of years.
Yikes.
Just counting actual Star Trek, which is the original series, the animated series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise. The second season of the Next Generation is some of the worst Star Trek ever. So they put a clip show in there because they were just getting fucked on in a lot of different ways. They said, "Screw it, we need to fill up airtime somehow. Let's just run a clip show." And it was dreadful.
Mm-hmm.
It is widely remembered as one of the worst episodes of Star Trek ever made because holy fuck, they did a clip show for Star Trek. What the hell were they thinking?
I think Yu-Gi-Oh did a clip show. I could be wrong,
Wouldn't I wouldn't be surprised.
which is hilarious to
I
think
would,
about.
yeah, I would not at all be surprised. And you're right, it is hilarious. But like early on, where that would have made sense, because they changed so many things in the localization process,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. You know, it's the artistic license and all that kind of crap. And Yu-Gi-Oh was remembered fondly anyway. But man, they took a lot of liberties that they really ought not to have, and
Yeah.
that's what you end up with.
I remember reading once that right before Serenity or Shizuka, whichever you want to call her, went in for surgery, Joey and Yugi are talking, or Janochi if you prefer. Um,
Mm.
and Yugi says, "I'll pray for your sister tonight." And that got taken out in the localization because they thought references to Christianity would be too polarizing.
And in a show that is essentially about Egyptian magic.
Yeah, it don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely wild. But that's one of the funny things and why it's so difficult. It's one of the when you grow up with the dubs, it's easy to love them and appreciate them. I mean,
Hmm.
shit, I love the dubs because of the nostalgia. But in terms of its actual quality, it's almost impossible to not just like watch the actual fucking original creation as it was made by the Japanese because somehow, some way, the Japanese have more respect for our culture than our actual people do. Then you end up with instances like that where, like you said, you're like, "I'll pray for your sister," and then they take that out because they're like, "Well, we don't want people to be offended." It's like a bunch of fucking Japanese people are the ones who wrote this. They weren't upset. God. At the end of the day, it's just a block of shit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're being objective, the Yu-Gi-Oh dub is one of the worst dubs ever. They completely butchered the source material, but it's
Yes,
that's part of the fun, honestly, the fact that they butchered it so bad.
right. Plus, and again, it's because the dub's what I grew up with.
Hmm.
So I can acknowledge how ridiculous the fucking dub is because, I have grown to be able to acknowledge that. But to this day, I still can't imagine anybody else as being the voice of Pegasus other than the guy who did it in the dub.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Anything else just upsets me. And watching the subs, even though it's actually accurate for the source material, not having the guy saying Yugi Boy, it upsets me. I can't help it.
Mm. How did they butcher it?
However,
Um, they made it all. They made the whole show about friendship. It was not really supposed to be like that. For one, just in general theme. That's one thing. There's that one episode near the end of the series where he's dueling the dude, and they've got chainsaws that come closer every time they
oh
lose life
yeah,
points, and every
I remember
time
that.
that you and basically if you lose, the chainsaw chops your legs off. And in the dub, they made them Shadow Realm discs that if they touch you, send
Yeah,
you to the Shadow Realm. Which I mean, even when you're like 7, you're like, what? What? Why would it touch his legs?
Yeah, if I remember right, in the source material, the shadow realm wasn't even a thing. It was like referenced in terms of being like the afterlife,
Yeah,
like you're gonna die. But the dub created the concept of the shadow realm because they thought that outright killing people was too extreme for kids.
yeah,
So what they did is actually come up with, hey, you're not gonna die. You're just gonna be trapped here for all eternity
yeah,
in a fate far worse than death. And it's like, how the fuck did you think that was better, bro? But but if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have ended up with looks like you're going to the shadow realm, Jimbo.
exactly. There was also an entire season of Yu-Gi-Oh that never got dubbed at all. That took place before Duelist Kingdom, and they couldn't really dub it because the Pharaoh was such a bastard. There was no way to do it. I think the idea was like
Right.
Yugi reined him in a little bit eventually, and by Duelist Kingdom, he was actually not a horrible person. But in the first season, he's like just fucking with people because he can.
Right. And because that's the thing is that in that first initial season, this is when Yugi solves the puzzle, and then he's first introduced to the character of the Pharaoh.
Mm-hmm.
And the Pharaoh, he's been sleeping for thousands of years. He's being dragged out from thousands of years ago ancient Egyptian culture and society as being a member of royalty, and all of a sudden, now he's in the position that he's in. So of course he acted like a complete asshole, and he was like going around fucking crushing people's minds,
Yeah.
uh,
There was like
and
this
and
one
stuff like
bully, I
that.
think he like drove him insane and basically sent him to a mental asylum for the rest of his life.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which is just like too much. But yeah, they cut that entire fucking thing out.
Yeah.
With the Yu-Gi-Oh dub, it just starts off as preparing for Duelist Kingdom, but like you've never been introduced to these characters before, but they're already established by the time that arc starts, which is
Yeah.
really weird.
Like the very first episode of the dub, Yugi summons Exodia. That's like, that would be like if Goku got to SSJ5 in the first episode of Deep Dragon Ball Z when you think about it.
Right, it's like what the hell is this? The legendary Super Saiyan. What the hell is that? He's all like he's already ascended to a level even further beyond. He's a super duper Saiyan. If he's a super duper Saiyan, I won't rest until I found a way to become a super D duper Saiyan.
Yeah. Yeah, the Yu-Gi-Oh dub
Um,
is one of the biggest butcherings of an anime ever, probably. There are probably some ones that are worse. Like, oh yeah, there's another one in Duelist Kingdom when Bandit Keith loses and he jumps
oh
over the
yeah,
railing to threaten Pegasus. In the original, he actually has a gun, which is based as hell.
right.
And
Yeah,
in
he
the
fucking draws a piece on Pegasus,
Mhm.
and then in the dub he just points at Pegasus.
yeah,
It's like, gee, I wonder why Pegasus has been threatened at all. Oh my god. I mean, if Keith was black and he handed jumped the banister like that,
Jesus Christ. Um, God, there's a bunch of other examples that I don't remember. Oh yeah, that one duel where they're dueling on top of a skyscraper, and there's like a hammer attached to the glass, so that
I
if
want
one
to
of
say
them loses,
that's
it
the
breaks the
game
glass.
where Yugi and Kaiba team up to
Yes,
duel the Servants of Merik.
yes.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, in the dub, they made it so that there was a portal to the Shadow Realm right underneath the glass, but in the dub, it just they would just fall to their death.
Right.
Just stuff like that. Looking back, Pegasus is a
So
lot like
in
Epstein. Yeah, I guess.
and so there's all those named examples the Joker brought up, but then also with the dub, there's a million other tiny examples of like changing things around in pants on head retarded ways just because you're sitting there like, well, the kids can't blah. Like Pegasus is watching cartoons and he's eating gorgonzola cheese while drinking a cup of wine.
Hmm.
and the dub has him say, how can you interrupt my precious cartoon time while I'm enjoying the finest gorgonzola cheese and a rich glass of fruit juice?
I remember that.
And it's like, really, bro? Like fucking wine? Wine is bad, which is baffling because um back when enough of the population was actually regularly attending church, you've got the sacrament where part of that is taking wine. Back in the day, like the 50s and earlier, kids who were like as young as 7 or 8 had regularly been ingesting wine as part of the sacrament, and depending on the culture of where they're located, in France, even to this day, kids drink red wine because like it's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, there's alcohol in it, but it's fucking wine. Like who the fuck gets smashed on wine? You
Right,
know.
exactly. Like,
So changing that in a kids cartoon was just really odd, and it's not like that one particular thing is oh my god this is horrible.
hmm
Crusade now. It's just a small example of a million little things that they changed for really no reason, and that's how you end up with people remembering it so poorly. And yet, it's also remembered fondly at the same time because it's a meme. Like the entire fucking thing is a hilarious meme.
yeah, to my recollection, there's a scene on Duelist Kingdom where Joey punches Tristan, and it's edited out in English. In the dub, I mean, that's another minor example. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, I just looked it up. The Shadow Realm is completely invented by the English dub.
Yeah. So, and again, in a way, it did give some good stuff because the Shadow Realm is one of the greatest anime memes ever. And if it wasn't for them coming up with that nonsensical fucking way to avoid mentioning death, then we never would have gotten the Hugh Neutron dueling Jimmy sending you to the Shadow Realm Jimbo memes,
hmm
which is just great stuff. Although I think we can all agree, whether it's the dub or the original source material, the worst thing that ever happened was when Joey had Merrick beat, and then he just lost at the last second because he died of a lonely heart. God, that was annoying.
Like, when I was little, I watched the Digimon dub a lot with my brother, and when I got a little older, I looked it up. That's a respectable dub. They didn't change that much. They changed stuff that they had to change. Like, there's this one scene right after they get back from the digital world where they're trying to hitchhike their way back home, and they're trying to figure out how to do it. And there's a woman who offers to give them a ride, but the woman is clearly a prostitute, and they're all too embarrassed to talk to her. So it didn't work. So in the English dub, they just edit that whole thing out because, duh. Like, that's
Yeah.
understandable, right?
I thought where that was going is it was going to be like, so they're trying to figure out how they're going to hitchhike their way back. So Mimi starts pulling up the hem of her dress.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, isn't she 12? My God.
Mhm. Yeah. So they edit stuff like that out. There's a couple of other things, but there's a lot they left in. Like Mr. Taikashi still smokes cigarettes. I remember that from the second half of season one in the English dub. They didn't edit it out or turn it into a fucking lollipop. They just left that in.
Yeah.
Uh, um, yeah, there's other stuff too, kind of like that. They did what they could. It wasn't perfect, but it was respectable.
And there's right. And there's lots of weird moments in like all dubs where they pick some strange shit that they decide to change up. Like who remembers watching Pokemon and then Brock started talking about rice balls being donuts?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a classic. That's just like a
I
translation
remember,
convention, though. Like kids in
yeah,
America don't know
I,
what a
I
rice
remember
ball
being
is.
fucking confused watching that. And Brock's being like, "Oh, great donuts," and then like he pulls out a rice ball. I'm like, "What the fuck kind of donut is that?" Like even as like a fucking 7-year-old kid, being like, "What the hell am I looking at?"
Maybe donut means a different thing in Japan. Yeah. Like the Evangelion dub is actually really good overall. They actually did a really good job with that one. They kept it mostly true to the Japanese text. And I feel like dubs these days take things way more seriously. Like back in the 90s, like another dub was Sailor Moon. I remember, not that this is bad, but it's kind of funny how focused on detail they were. The scenes where they show like a car or a bus on the road, they play in reverse, so it looks like the car's driving on the right side of the road because in the original version, it's of course on the left side. Even though the show explicitly takes place in Japan and they do not try to suggest otherwise.
It's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Remember that one time you wrote the Sailor Moon fan fiction, and the guy was all like, "Hey, this is remarkably similar to this episode of The Simpsons."
yes, yes, I do remember. That was I was so happy when that happened. You have no idea how happy I was.
Oh man, I was as happy as the Grok story that he wrote where Sheldon had the Burger King crown on a plaque. I would like to make an announcement. Sir, you can't make an announcement. I don't care.
Yeah. Did you ever see the Digimon movie?
Yes,
Now that got butchered. That was appallingly handled. It was
that makes
originally
sense.
it was originally three movies with the three different eras. You know, the prequel, the
Mhm.
'01, and then '02. But in America, they
That
just
makes
decided, okay,
sense
let's take
because
all three, smash them together.
okay, that makes sense because I remember watching the Digimon movie as a kid and like really hating it. Whereas I didn't hate any of the shows, so I was like, why is the movie so bad?
Yeah.
But as I got older, I started wondering if that was just a thing with anime in general because lots of animes are very popular and lots of animes that are very well received as the syndicated series. When they have a movie, it might be popular in the sense of like, oh man, I can't wait to see that movie. But then you go watch the movie and it's awful.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that was the way it was with Yu-Gi-Oh, with Digimon, with Pokemon, Naruto. The vast majority of Dragon Ball Z movies are dog shit. Um, like I cannot think of a single anime, a series that made a movie where people are like, yeah, the movie's great.
At the time it was released, End of Evangelion was considered bad, but over time it's now been regarded as like the greatest anime movie ever. It took a while for people to get it because it was so depressing.
I wouldn't be surprised because like that's the way it is with a lot of the older stuff. And the
Hmm.
stuff gotten so bad as time's gone on that like even as a product of its time, it may not have been popular, but it got more popular as time went on because everything in comparison was so shit compared to it.
Hmm.
I think like a good example would be a good example of anime movie that people loved. But at the same time, it's hard to say that it was like a series and then they made a movie of it. But Fist of the North Star,
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one.
that was Kenshiro with
I mean, I've certainly heard a
trying to
lot
remember
about it. I remember Ankh liked it a lot.
right. Right. I was trying to remember the Japanese name of the martial arts style. I want to say Hakotu Shinken.
Hmm.
Okay, let check.
It's all going according to Keikaku.
Yeah. Hakotu no Shinken is the Japanese name for Fist of the North Star. And it's fucking fantastic. Post apocalyptic Mad Max style shit where instead of using guns they just fucking fight each other.
and it is fantastic, magnificent shit. But that is like pure '80s, pure distilled fucking '80s, man. Inject that shit directly into my veins.
Uh-huh. Right. All right, let's see here. Canal. But
But the series was so short that the movie was basically just a condensed version of the series. So it doesn't feel like it counts.
mm, makes
Mm.
sense. Yeah, and then there are some animes that only release in film form. It's like a series of a few movies instead of a show that eventually gets a movie. Those are kind of interesting. That's what the third Digimon Adventure series did. It was 6 movies instead of 24 episodes. And then they did one final movie a few years ago because every people didn't like the third one, so they wanted to send it off with something that people at least liked. They actually got a lot of the voice actors back, which was it's kind of crazy how these grown men, like old men, can still sound like teenage boys. It's impressive.